am calling to meeting the SPARC meeting for July 2022. The first thing is to approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. So I motion to approve the June 23rd meeting minutes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, great. And then moving on to the agenda. So I guess Nick is in charge of SPARC email account and everything. So he forwarded your email to us. I don't know who had a chance to see it because we just had it earlier today. But if we want to start with the discussion about the Gatehouse Museum and the cool website you'll put it together.
Sure. Joining me up there.
Yeah, with a microphone.
Okay. So about 2 months ago, you had asked me to look into the histories of all the parks. I did do that, and the long and short of the situation is that many of the parks were put together at different times as part of development projects. They were given temporary names, and in about 2003, they were given names by vote, which was conducted both through town meetings as well as through our town newsletter. I did post short summaries of each of the names and reasonings for those parks. They're posted on the Gatehouse website under the town histories link and then Sykesville Parks. I also wrote up a little bit about the beginnings of your group in particular. We do not have a ton of resources on your former members or on any pictures of those. If you want us to add those and you have those within your group, that would be something that the Gatehouse would be interested in having. So.
We can come up with some.
And we can talk to Jamie Nichols. She would have all of that.
Yeah. The other item that I had emailed your group about was that I'd really like to conduct an organic use survey of Millard Cooper Park to find out what times of day people are using what things in the park, as well as who is passing by, who's walking, who's biking, who's walking dogs, to try to figure out with both of our programming how we might better utilize those passive and active users of the park. It's something I started doing last year, but I just can't do it by myself, and with kids in school and stuff, it's too tricky. So I think between all of us, though, we could get a fairly accurate picture. So,
Great idea.
Yeah. Any other
And I
kids?
think our numbers have gone up because of the
yes.
splash pad.
Definitely.
Splash pad has changed
Parking's
everything.
a huge issue whenever the water's running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Okay, great. So did you already have like questions put together for the survey, and it's just a matter of kind of coordinating?
Yeah, I think we can work together. I can just come up with some ideas on what we can do. We could also even do through the newsletter, put a survey through that as well, and have it be able to put in a box in the park or something. So, and that might be a good way to do it.
It's a great idea.
So can I share with her what we had talked about before with the flags and the...
Sure. Yeah.
So at NML, at our annual or summer conference, was it housing, historic district kind of things, the Maryland State, they have some funds set aside or projects that they're looking for that are highlighting the African American experience in Maryland. And so in addition to kind of looking at the parks that we have, one of the parks we have is the Carrie Dorsey Park. We also have the schoolhouse. And I don't know that the schoolhouse is the right location, but what I'd like to look at with the research you're doing is whether or not we could combine a project with a grant that would include almost a walking tour of the African American experience here in Sykesville along the Carrie Dorsey Park with plaques that would then also have at least what you have been able to find to put a plaque at each of the parks to recognize what we do know about who they're named after. But then also we have the mental health facility and a lot of history there. We even have town residents who still have a lot of that history, even orally. So I'd like to also see whether we can do plaques around the Warfield buildings to commemorate and to recognize the Springfield experience as well. And I didn't know if there was a way to, with Parks and Rec, with what you're doing, you know, to kind of combine into maybe a grant application that would kind of do the whole history of town
I think that it would make sense to discuss it also with Jason Alari, the new CEO of Springfield. They're also talking about doing probably the same grant, interpretation of their site in relation to what's going on there. And obviously having the same information in two places wouldn't be very serviceable.
Sure.
So that's something that we can discuss that at a different time. But yeah, we can look into that. So
Do you know the timeline for that?
yeah.
It's an open grant. I mean, it's just grants through is it Maryland Historic Trust?
I don't know if it's through MHT or some other department, but, I think there's certain things we can do relatively short term. I know obviously Carrie Dorsey Park would be where I would want to focus, just because there should be some sort of interpretation as to why it's named that
Yeah.
somewhere along the
Well,
trail.
and I don't know if you all have read the paper lately, but Mr. Dorsey passed away this past week. So that's also other news.
So I think that's something that we can absolutely do sooner rather than later. But then how we tie in, say, the schoolhouse or even, Springfield Hospital Center. I know there was some discussion about making at least a part of that, the Springfield Hospital Center, a little more public, but
Yeah,
That's
I don't
gonna
know
be
that we
there.
need to.
yeah.
I was thinking more just the Warfield place, because it is, the Warfield buildings are in the public. I'm not suggesting that we get people onto Springfield grounds, but is there a way to tell the Springfield history at plaques or a walking tour, something around the Warfield buildings, is more of my thought.
Well, they're all privately
They're all
owned,
privately owned.
so we
yeah.
can't force that on the
Okay.
on the property owners. So again, that could be something that hopefully we can incorporate maybe into a future development there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
right now we can't do that.
Okay.
Doesn't mean there's something can't be done, say along Cooper Drive as you go under the tunnel and over to there. But right now I think it would have to be limited to Carrie Dorsey Park or Cooper Park leading over to.
Leading
Warfield.
over maybe with a map and a description of
Right.
the history or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, in the mental health space, we're losing the history quickly. And one of the few last standing facilities outside of Springfield, Spring Grove, has just been sold or whatever to University of Maryland. As, on a lease
UMBC.
over multiple years, but the expectation, I think, from the public right now is that those buildings will be destroyed. So the Springfield buildings might be, Roseville has been, repurposed, I think they maintain those buildings.
Yep.
But in terms of active facilities, they're dwindling fast, and the history's gonna go even faster, so. To recognize what our town, the history of our town, and the history of the connection to Springfield, what Springfield provided, and I don't think a lot of people would recognize it was a full city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's been conversations, Adrian and I have talked several times about, what do we want the Gatehouse Museum to actually be and what story do we want it to tell? And if there's a combination of things with Springfield Hospital Center, with some of the improvements that they're doing over there, if they want to
They
kind of
have
take
a lot
over.
of plans on trying to figure out how to make it more of a public space in certain areas because of the nature of the buildings there.
Right. So-
But tying back to the parks, we absolutely can start on something, getting together. I don't know if it's gonna be practical to make it a trail, seeing as you're talking about literally opposite sides of town, but something to better identify those things. And I think especially with the schoolhouse, something to lead people up to look at it.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
direct people there.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Do you happen to have any footage from Mr. Dorsey when he would go to the schoolhouse and once a year or so and
Yes, in fact, I believe CMC has footage of that on their website still from when they did several projects much earlier. He's done interviews for probably 15 years associated with the townhouse and the gatehouse. And, yeah.
I've attended
Yeah.
a couple and they were remarkable.
He's
So,
a fantastic.
is that something that is available if you stop by the gatehouse?
Right now, we are in the midst of getting ready for electrical work and painting, so our archive room is closed at the present. We do have some digital copies of some of the speeches, and as I said, I know I've seen some of them on CMC as well. So,
Thanks.
yeah. Anything else? Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alright, the next thing on the agenda is the Sykesville Cinema preparation for the August movie. It's August 13th, and it's going to be Toy Story 4. So I know that we have the activity ready, the do-it-yourself forky.
That's adorable.
We have volunteers
Yes.
ready for that? Okay.
Brian, can we please move the InStyle from July to August, since
Yeah.
July was canceled, so we'll give her August.
Yeah.
Because she only paid for 1 month, so let's give her August, please.
Definitely.
Okay, and we're good on Snack Shack food.
Noah and I are gonna check the week before to see if
Okay.
we need to either toss or if the hot dogs are still good.
Okay.
We'll check. Noah and I are gonna take care of that the week before the movie.
Okay. And at the June movie, to try to get more people to visit the Gatehouse, I had brought those little popcorn tickets. Did anybody?
No, it's not takers. It's rare that we get people that come over, but that's
Okay.
sort of the principle of things.
Okay. We also didn't advertise it that well on our end, so like I want to have a slide in there, in our ads, telling people to do that, and we'll put it on Facebook ahead of time to visit the Gatehouse Museum ahead of time.
We also have
can
that.
Go ahead.
And we also have that speaker that if we just need one cord, but like people are literally, the parents just sit there for an hour. So if we'd say, I guarantee you that people would have came over if they knew, but we just didn't do a very good job communicating it. So we have a speaker with a microphone. We can just go up there and say it a couple times before the movie. We have an hour
Okay.
where a bunch of us are there, and yeah.
Yeah. That's
And we can also communicate it when all the kids are waiting for their face painting stuff too. But yeah, if we can make sure that, was that all we needed for that speaker? Was just that one
I think it
one
was
power
just
cord?
the power, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if not, I have a very loud, obnoxious voice. I can get it out. So, but yeah, let's make sure we like announce it a couple times, and to get people over there.
Okay.
No.
And we can have our Snack Shack people say, take your ticket and go over to the Gatehouse. We can remind them.
Do they get it? So.
So I had dropped them off at the Gatehouse, so that they would have to
Yeah.
go to the Gatehouse, and then
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was a little ticket that just said, like, take me to the Snack Shack to get a free popcorn.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
I don't think we had a sign for the water bottles.
No, we put it on the ads, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
If we
I
just have,
would have
like,
put it
a
on
little
Facebook, and then if we could also
sign.
announce it at the same time as us in the Gatehouses. that'd be good.
Just like a little sign and a couple of the water bottles sitting out right where people come up to order their food, so that people know that we have those
I think I made a
for
sign.
sale.
No, I made a sign.
Okay.
Yeah, for the June movie. It's a while ago now. I'll have to print that back out though. Right. So with the August movie though, there's a chance that I might not be available to help. I'm trying to see my parents' plans. They wanted to, because it's the day after they're coming for a wedding. But Brian will be available though, still to help set up the movie and everything.
And Nick won't be here, so I'm gonna see if Dominic can help me in the Snack Shack to have 2 adults in the Snack Shack.
I'll be available to help out.
Alright,
Yeah.
Me and you in the Snack Shack then.
Okay.
Alright, we're set.
sounds good. Okay, so then I think we're good there. So then the next thing on the agenda was concession purchases. And I wasn't sure what this was referring to.
So I contacted this company that our neighbor works for. You know Joe Merle? That name ring a bell to you?
No.
So they sell big hot dogs. And he was saying if we bought 60 hot dogs that are 6 inches long and a quarter pound, he thinks they would go really, really well. So I contacted the company, and 60 hot dogs is $50.69. I don't think we're spending that much less for the hot dogs that we're buying because prices have gone up and we buy a lot. But the thing is with the buns, why can't it match? So if you buy 60 hot dogs, you have to buy 72 buns. Remember the father of the bride and Steve Martin opens up the package and takes out the buns? I'm like, what? And she said the same thing. So I was wondering, I don't know if this is good for this year because we only have 3 movies left. But if it's something that we want to talk about, I can place the order I just go pick it up because they don't ship it. They only ship it if we buy 1,000 hot dogs for like a party day or something. So I would just have to go and pick it up. But I thought it might be easier, and they can be frozen up to 3 months.
Okay.
It already takes 20 plus minutes to heat up a regular sized hot dog on the hot dog roller. How long is it gonna take to heat
No
up
clue. No clue. Did we
Yeah,
get rid of
dog.
the other burner? Did we
I
get rid
don't
of
think
the?
so. I think we
Because
kept
we
it in
could
the
cook
back.
them on there and then just roll them on the roller to keep them warm.
Yeah, it's
But
not-
I have no idea, Brian. That's a great question. So let me know your thoughts. Do we have $50 in the budget?
Yeah, you're good.
And then I'll just have to buy buns because I'm not spending $53 for 72 buns. I'm not. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, we do still have 3 more movies this year.
Okay.
We went through a crazy amount of hot dogs on the June movie.
I heard because I wasn't there. Yeah.
And we
Okay.
always go through a lot on the Halloween movie because it's, you know,
All right,
acted.
perfect. So do we need to vote on this? Does somebody need to make a motion?
I
Or
think you're good.
we're good? I didn't know if hot dogs was a requirement for the. I don't know these things.
Yeah, that's true. I think that we had already agreed in the past that you would get hot dogs for the movies.
I didn't have prices for you at the last meeting, so I wanted to make sure I did my correct research before I just went out and spent $50 on 60 hot dogs and make sure you guys were okay with it. All right, I will call them tomorrow and then pick them up for August and then freeze the rest so that we're ready for September and October.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
All right, next thing on the agenda is advertising budget. And I think Eric, you leading this one?
Well, I've sent like all
Your email
all
was
the
great.
stuff, so I think Joe had something he was going to say about it.
Well, I was just gonna say, if this is what you guys want to do, we can certainly make that work within the budget. It's just a
Okay.
matter of, is this exactly what we want, or is there some other discussion that needs to happen?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to remember what I put in the email. Besides like, the art signs, we already have those and they're back up.
The stand-up banners,
Stand-up banner, which was I don't know 2 something, and then yeah, how much was that? I can't.
$230.
Okay, yeah. And then if we wanted to advertise on Facebook for any of these things,
Right.
that's just the whatever we want to put to it. So we have to figure out, okay, here's how much, and here's how long we want to do it for each movie. So we have 3 more movies left. Depends. You can put as little as $20 for each movie. You can put as much as, you can put as much as you want, but then I don't know what we want to do or what we can do.
And we can target it right to this area, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can target like 5-mile radius, certain ages, whatever you want.
What did you do with your church? How far out did you target with your first
We did the first one. We did 10 miles, but that's too far.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because the church-wise, people are looking for local more.
Okay.
So 10 miles from here can be pretty far. So we
Okay.
did 5 miles, and that worked better.
Okay.
People enough in the vicinity of it, and we just did. I don't know the amount. We just did $200 for 2 weeks, and I don't know if that's the right. I have no clue that's the right amount, but
But your
that's what
numbers
we
went
did.
up?
Yeah, we had people come just because they saw it.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the ratio of how much we spent per person coming, but yeah, we did see people come.
Okay.
And is it per post? Like, is it just blasting?
You would do one post, and you would just say, do you want to do it for 7 days or 14 days? And you can put a cap of $50 for the whole thing, and it'll tell you exactly how much you're going to get for that, which is $50 for the whole thing. When if you're doing 2 weeks, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Or if you do $100 for 2 weeks or $200 for 2 weeks, whatever, that's more people that are going to see it and click through. So if we make the event, what we would do is make our Facebook event, and we would just boost that.
Okay.
And then the goal is people to click and say they're interested or they're possibly going to come.
Got it.
And Facebook guarantees you're going to get people that at least say they're interested, or they won't charge you, because that's how the algorithms work. They will just keep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's nice. It's also very scary that they can do this, but they know exactly what to do to make sure that people click it.
A little bit of Big Brother there.
Yeah, for sure.
You get stats on all of that.
We'd get stats, yeah. But we found this on our events too. so many people will say they're going, and about 80% of those go, and then way more say they're interested, and maybe 10% of them actually go.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, so I'd be able to tell you how many people clicked interested because of it, but unless we polled everybody, we're not going to know exactly how many from the Facebook boost came because of that. But another thing we found on our end is just the more they see it constantly, then the more they're reminded of things like, oh, I might not be able to go to this one, but now I'll like the page and then I'll be able to go to the next one.
Right.
It's just constantly exposure. So I think more people would come because of it, but even if it's not as many as we hope, I still think it's worth it for the exposure that it will generate.
Okay.
So the question would be how much we're allowed to do.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, if you want, we can kind of combine this into one motion for you all. If we want to do the stand-up banners and purchase those, you can just say we'll spend $250 on that, and then if you want to try, say $100 on the first movie,
Okay.
and see if
See how it goes.
see how it goes,
Okay.
and then we can make a decision at the the August
for
meeting
September.
for the September.
Do
movie.
September. That'll be a good one anyway, school around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then for the stand-up banner, what if you want us to make one? I can send it out to everybody before anything's done, obviously. But like, unless somebody else wants to make it, but we've
Go
made
for
it.
it, Eric.
I say
You're
we.
gonna
It's not
volunteer.
going to be me. I'm not making it. Some pictures making it.
Didn't you mention there were 2 different stand-up banners? Am I remembering?
So yeah, I'm pretty sure the one I sent was the one that has the fabric that goes over it because that is way more durable.
Okay.
We would get the ones that pull up and those suckers break.
So the
quick.
250 covered the better one?
Pretty
that you were
yeah,
recommending?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because the other ones I don't even think hit the 200 mark. But then we're gonna have to buy another one next year. So.
Yeah, you said the pull-up banners were like $140, and the tension fabric ones. I guess
Okay, yeah,
is that
that's
what
it,
you're
yeah.
talking about? Yeah, that's the 230.
Yeah. So.
And that's the better one. It'll last longer for us.
Yeah, it just won't break. Yeah.
Great.
The other ones just once it rips in the bottom.
You're good.
Yeah. We learned quick at church how quickly those. So.
Is that from Vistaprint?
I can't remember. I got to double check because we've looked a bunch of places.
Okay,
So.
I might have to keep
Yeah. So then we'd have to motion for
The purchase of the banner, or the
And-
creation of the banner, I guess.
yeah,
And the $100 put towards, I guess, what is it called, Facebook boosting.
yeah. So I motion for that. Do I have to say it?
Second motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, for me too. There, thanks, Eric.
That was great.
I'm just sort of texting Lauren now. She has work to do.
Get ready.
Alright, so the last thing on the agenda is the concerts in the park update, but Nick's not here and he didn't send any updates, so we're gonna push that to the next meeting.
When is that date again?
For
When is,
the-
for the concert in the park, when is that? Is it September?
September 10th, 17th, and October 1st.
Does that overlap a movie that, is it the 17th of September
Yes,
that
so it
will overlap?
overlaps School of Rock.
Okay. Okay,
So we'll have another meeting, but it's like right before it, right?
right. But I think we'll have time. Nick will be able to knock it out.
I'll follow up with him about the paperwork, cause last I heard, he still didn't get,
I don't think we have any contracts yet.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And then, are there any town updates?
Couple. So we did replace the roof and the soffit there at the snack shack, so all that's been
Oh, yay.
done. Still needs to be stained, but we'll get there. The work at Jones Park that I know we've talked about a lot is completed.
Oh,
so
great.
Jones Park should be, tip top right now.
Great.
Um,
Other than the painting, they fixed the squeaky swing.
that I don't know.
Okay. I just felt bad for the neighbors in front because it
I didn't
squeaks
realize there
really
was a
bad.
squeaky swing.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it
We'll
was pretty
WD-40
loud.
that tomorrow.
Go swing, Joe, check it
Yeah,
out for
we'll
us.
check it out. The splash pad is still obviously very busy. We're still dealing with that. I'll bring this up too, because I know there was a presentation probably a year ago now on the pickleball stuff.
Right.
We really haven't made any headway on it, just because really our focus has been on splash pad.
Sure.
So if anybody does ask, it's not off the radar. It's just we haven't made any headway on it. So.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. You know, we're just kind of maintaining everything now.
Great. Thank you for the trash cans and the recycle cans.
Yeah.
I just need an extension on my garage, but I love them.
A lot of people have said it forced them to actually clean out their garages. So
And
it's-
that's what we did.
Yeah.
Alright, anything else from the group?
Dominic?
Alright.
I'm motion to end
Oh,
the
wait,
meeting.
Who's putting signs out for the August movie?
What do they have to
Who's
put up?
putting signs out for the August movie? The July movie, I'm sorry.
Oh, it is August.
Where are we? The
August.
August movie.
I
Sorry.
can do
When
that.
are we?
That's right.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay. Thanks.
Where are they? In the,
In the River Shack.
okay, thanks.
Did we replace the lock?
I didn't know we were replacing the lock.
Jana, I had been telling Jana, Dominic and I, the dials all now turn at the same time.
Okay.
So you kind of have to hold the first number,
Yeah, I thought-
turn the second number, then hold those first two, then turn that. And we would kind of like the same one because nobody wants a key, because the password has been the same
Okay.
for 16 years. So we
We
just
change it.
Not that anybody knows
Right,
that.
right, right, right. We change it every month, but it seems to keep the same numbers in a different order. But we really need a new one because it's really hard.
Lock it. We're talking about the way station, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
All right. We'll get that taken care
We
of.
called it the River Shack because that's what Joey called it, I think, and I've always called it that.
When we did our movies.
When we did the
down there.
movies there, yeah.
River
Yeah,
Shack.
yeah, yeah.
I think I started calling it the way station because I'm from a mining background and it's a way station.
That's what it is.
Or a
And
scale
then Billy,
house.
can you pick up as well?
Sure.
And then if there's a rain, are you able to pick up?
Flip
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
it. You got it.
Thank you for picking up all the movies for July
Yep.
when it was canceled.
In the-
I'm
in the
sorry.
rain.
In the rain, I'm sorry. Thank you
No, it
for
was
doing
good.
that, Dominic.
It had to be done, so.
Baptized on the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, is there anything we have to, like cancellation like we did last time? Like we had, just refresh my memory. We have to wait till 4.
No,
Well, we know.
We did
didn't.
it
Okay.
before because it seemed
If
obvious.
it's questionable,
Incredibly obvious.
Yeah.
if it's questionable, we wait.
Absolutely.
If it's obvious, we cancel.
Whether it's
soon.
unclear.
It's raining all
Okay,
day, so
okay.
the ground would be soaked. You know.
Alright, alright.
Yeah.
Which is what July was. It just
Yeah,
rained
even if it
all
had
day.
stopped raining at 2, you still wouldn't have.
Okay.
Right.
It wouldn't have dried out.
I didn't see the if weather is unclear part, which
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
Motion, Brian, let's go.
I motion to end the meeting.
Second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Bang it. Bang it.